your seats. I'll tell you as we're going along, the February marks my anniversary date as the minister here, and this is year 4. And according to Hallmark, you give flowers and fruit on the 4th anniversary. So I made this morning. They're silk. And I made these too, not this morning though. And then there's fruit in the back. So if you don't have an apple or an orange, please make sure to get yourself one. So that's the gift. Okay, so let us take this time to pray in together and get all spiritually aligned. I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. To get your feet both on the ground so that you're fully grounded into the moment, focusing in on your breath. I am here. I am right here. I am fully present in this moment, recognizing the Spirit, the universal truth, God that is within me, flowing to me, through me, for me, and as me. And as I sit in this room, I breathe in God and I breathe out God. I breathe in God and I breathe out God. For God is all there is. I call this day well in advance. I let it be well, and so it is. Amen. All right, it's February. It's time for our new call to worship song for the month, and Anita's going to lead us through it. I invite you to stand and sing along.
All right, it is February. Our power is love. Our disciple is John. Our color is pink. See pants. Body area is the back of the heart. And our Bible verse, God is love. His love surrounds me. In his love, I safely dwell. And so now let's reiterate everything that is all about love. And love is my decision. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. Once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. vision right here and now. You sound beautiful this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome home. I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. If you're watching us virtually, you can type this in the comments. Everyone look around this morning and tell everyone, good morning. I love you this morning. And I sure do appreciate you being here this morning. And to our virtual family at home, please know we are saying this to you too, and you can help us grow our loving community by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing to our pages. Now, if you please join me in saying February's affirmations. Love is my name, and compassion is my practice. By the power of divine love, I am unifying presence. And now we'll have our vision statement. We envision a spiritually awakened world where all people live in joyful gratitude. And our mission, Unity in Greensboro is a loving, inclusive home for spiritual living that empowers and serves our community. And our core values. Our core values are spiritual growth, inclusivity, wholeness, generosity, authenticity, and unity. And the prayer chaplain.
No, you got the power of the month.
You want me to say that again?
What's that?
Okay.
Oh, did you already do it? Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we have 12 powers at Unity, and this month our power of the month is love. And we celebrate the divine power of love. The disciple is John, the color is pink, and the area it resides of is the back of the heart. God is love. His love surrounds me. In his love I safely dwell. The prayer chaplain.
Thank you, thank you. So glad to be here this morning. My name is Candy Bartling Connor, and I am the prayer chaplain this morning. And let's see, I'm going to get to the right side. Yes. So no matter what you are growing through, our chaplain team wants to pray with you about it. So seek one of us out after service today. And to be included on our prayer list, you can fill out a form and put it in the prayer box, this beautiful prayer box that our beautiful Nana is bringing forward now. There are slips of paper back on the back table where the prayer box will be. And you can add those slips anytime during the service. The other way that you can request prayer is on our website. There is a button you can push to request a prayer specifically from Unity in Greensboro. And another option is beunity.org, which will connect you to Silent Unity and all kinds of prayers and meditations to support you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we are here for you. Please let us help you in any way that we can. So what I'm going to do today is lead you in a prayer and meditation where we enfold members of our community who have asked for prayer. And so I'd like you to just bring to mind anyone you know, including yourself, who may be on your heart, who may, from your understanding, need support. And bring that person to mind. And I'm going to add names from our church family to that name or those names. The family of Sarah, Henning, Athena Burnett, Norma and Gerald Basham and family, Marissa Carmichael, Roderick Randolph, Patrick Sipp and Sharon, Barb Castelli, Ruth Burnell, Joyce Lauder, Daffy Duck, Wouter Werhagen, and Marie Grace. So what we're going to do now is think of these people that we love, that we care about, and envision them perfect and whole. I'd like you just to start taking some deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling, relaxing into that breathing as much as you can. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. Feel that chair supporting you the way that we support our loved ones, the way that the Christ light supports us. I have a scripture that I found today that I really loved. Zephaniah 3, verse 7. The Lord your God is in your midst, a mighty one who will save. God will rejoice over you with gladness. God will quiet you by his love. God will exult over you with loud singing. So as you continue that cycle of breath, envision yourself being exulted over. Envision yourself being rejoiced over. Envision yourself being quieted by Christ's light and Christ's love. And from this safe, sacred place, wrap your arms around your loved ones. Remind them from your heart that we all rejoice over them. We will quiet them with our love. We will exult over them with loud singing. And we see them whole and complete. Whatever they need is already on its way. We affirm that truth, and we are grateful for that truth, that these loved ones, that all people are whole, perfect, and complete. And we stand with them knowing that God is already actively working in partnership with each person as they grow, as we grow, as we cultivate and nurture and resonate the power of divine love. Wherever we are, God is, and say it with me, all is well. Amen and amen.
Okay, now I'd like to introduce our special music performed by the John and Candy Band. The John and Candy Band is a duo made up of Reverend John Connor and Candy Bartling Connor, who is a LUT licensed Unity teacher. They have performed at several Unity churches and play acoustic songs from the 70s as well as standards at music venues around the Triad and in Texas. Do you guys like jump on an airplane Monday and come back Friday?
Kind of like Taylor Swift.
You have anything coming up outside of Unity?
Most
Senior centers? Okay. Okay, thank you, John and Candy. Here you are.
So the power this month is love, and a lot of us feel that love when we're out surrounded by nature. So here's a song that pays homage to that form of divine love.
Yeah, this is a really sweet old song by John Denver, Sunshine on My Shoulders. That bodes well. Sunshine on my shoulders.
Y'all sound great.
Make me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. If I had a day that I could give you, I'd give to you a day just like today. If I had a song that I could sing for you, I'd sing a song to make you feel this way.
Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Oh, sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. If I had a tale that I could tell you, I'd tell a tale sure to make you smile. Oh, if I had a wish that I could wish for you, I'd make a wish for sunshine all the while.
Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in so lovely,
lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. Sunshine almost all the time makes me high. Sunshine almost always.
Thank you. Thank you for singing along.
Good morning again. It occurred to me when I was sitting over there, my old job kicked in the TV thing, and can we make sure we have at least one pull out so that the people on the camera can see these flowers? Otherwise, they're going to be, what are those weird things sticking up? Anyway, I was just watching this documentary yesterday about the making of We Are the World. And they mentioned John Denver in that, so that's kind of funny. They said that when they looked around at all the big stars that were in the room, somebody said, boy, somebody drops a bomb on this building tonight, John Denver is immediately on the top of the charts again. Because all the really popular people of, I don't remember, like 1985, 84, yeah, so it's like all those people, it's like out, John Denver's back in. Anyway, I love John Denver. Thank you for that. Okay, so we are looking at today the prosperity laws, I should say, of acceptance and of attraction. And for our spiritual prosperity book that we're looking at for the first quarter is this book called The Millionaire Joshua by Catherine Ponder. And these were the chapters that we looked at in January. So for everybody except Charlotte and Suzanne, this will be new information. But I'm going to get into it one way or another. You don't show up on Wednesdays, I'll just do it here. Now, well, and hopefully you'll hear some good information, and then not this coming Wednesday, but the Wednesday after, you'll join us. Or we may have to look at that, because that's Valentine's Day, and a bunch of you may not want to hang out with me, because maybe, you've got a heart attachment to somebody else. Anyway, so what we're looking at, first I wanted to look at Joshua before we even get into that, right? So because we're looking at the metaphysics of it. And metaphysically, this is what it says in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary about Joshua. It says, in Hebrew, Joshua means the same as Jesus. Both are derived from Jehovah, which means I am that I am. The difference between Joshua and Jesus is the extent of conscious realization of the I am. So, we all have some thoughts. Then it's like, how much commitment do we have to those thoughts? Are we still teetering on the, well, maybe, or are we, this is an absolute, unquestionable truth, right? And so that's where maybe you go the difference between Joshua and Jesus on that. It also says in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, when Joshua took command, he notified, well, actually, let me back up before I say that part. So, for anybody who doesn't know who Joshua is, no problem. I had to remind myself constantly, too. So, you've heard of the 40 years of wandering, right? And that was being led by Moses. Joshua is actually the one who Moses put in charge of actually taking the Israelites into the Promised Land. And so, there are lots of reasons probably in real world that you could give for that. But in metaphysics, what it says, Moses metaphysically means the drawing out, the pulling out, right? So Moses' job was to get them out of there. Moses' job wasn't to get them in. In other words, like Moses, when you look at that piece of your own consciousness, your own spiritual truth that you can use to kind of get through a day, Like, if you need to get out of something, if you need to get your thinking out of something that is not serving you, you call upon the Moses within you to be like, no, I gotta pull out of this. I gotta get myself out of Egypt, which is a body consciousness thought, and I've got to get myself into my Israelite thinking, my illumined thinking, right? So that's how we metaphysically use these names from the Bible. Joshua's job is to get you in. Right? So 40 years of wandering with Moses, Moses puts Joshua in charge, and 3 days later they're in. Right? Because it was never Moses' job to get them in. Moses' job was to get them out and then help get them ready, because they didn't need to enter until they were really ready to be there. And that's the case for us too. Sometimes we jump quick and then we get into something. I've told you about moving to New York City for 3 days, right? You know, for anybody who doesn't know the story, the short version, like an entire moving truck, apartment, furniture moved in. 3 days later, I decided it was not the right time, and I called my mom, and she came and moved everything back. Because I wasn't actually ready to be there, even though since 5th grade, when I was 10 years old, I started saying, I'm going to move to New York City, and I'm going to work at CBS, because one of my cousins worked at CBS, and Captain Kangaroo was on CBS. And Guiding Light was on CBS, and so that's where I wanted to be too. And that's exactly where I ended up, right? Like, I did my internship in the summer of '91 on the Joan Rivers show, and they shot at CBS Broadcast Center. And then because of that, like a year or so later, when I finally moved back to New York, not the 3-day time, but when I moved back and was there 5.5 years, the first job I got was temping at As the World Turns, and I got that job simply because they shot in the same building that I had done my internship, and it's a maze of a building. Like, I got lost one time, I made a wrong turn, and suddenly I was on the catwalk above the evening news with Dan Rather set. And so it was a maze. So that's how I got the temp job at World Turns, and that ended up being for a month because a guy got sequestered on jury duty, and then by the time he got out, Guiding Light called World Turns and said, hey, we really need a temp, and none of the people we normally use are available. Do you have anybody? And it literally was the day that this other guy's sequestering had ended. He was coming back tomorrow, and I went over to Guiding Light, and I stayed 5.5 years. And in the entire time I was at Guiding Light, we never called World Turns looking for a temp. Like, my entire history of it, it's the only time it happened, right? So everything got lined up. But when I went there the first time, I just wasn't ready to be there yet. When we have those moments where it's like, just because you got in and you're like, not yet, it doesn't mean, oh, that was just a bad dream to have. It means you haven't cooked it enough yet, right? It means you're pulling the cake out of the oven when it's still got some batter in it. And so that's the 40-year time. Like, it doesn't have to be, oh, those poor souls, they just couldn't figure it out, and that's why they had to wander for 40 years. Well, first of all, 40 years, before you even get into deep metaphysics, usually when that pops up in the Bible, it just means it was a really long time. Like, and how many people have been like, God, that took like an hour to get through, and it turns out it was about 30 seconds or something, you know. Like, so, you know, time is time. So when we get to Joshua, this is what it says, that I wanted to go over that part first. It says, when Joshua took command, he notified the children of Israel that they would pass over into the promised land in 3 days. This promptness of action is the result of confidence and power. When we know the law of spiritual demonstration and have the courage to act, we are Joshua. So when you're ready to demonstrate and you have the courage that now is the time I can confidently do this, you're utilizing your Joshua consciousness. So it then goes on to say, it is the state of mind that saves the whole mentality from its errors and brings it to a consciousness of its natural inheritance and being. So I say all that to say, like, that's where we're starting. We're going from a place of building that confidence, of making decisions, and understanding that in the 40 years, Joshua wasn't just wandering around unsure like everybody else. Joshua is known for going up onto a mountaintop and staring over into the promised land and going ahead and starting to envision what life can be like and what they should do when they get there. Like, he's already making the plans, right? That's how we manifest stuff in our own lives. We start with the invisible thought of it, of the non-physical part of it, and we start imagining what it can be like. And then we always have to be careful to be like, well, this or better. Like, I'm not locking myself into this, right? Like, that comes in real handy when you start looking at somebody else's spouse. It's like, no, I don't need their spouse. I want a relationship like that sings in the way that, like, I just get happy watching these things with them. The truth is, if you think the only way you can get that is to get the other person's spouse, you're going to get them, and it's not going to sing in the same way, because it was the recipe of the combination of the two of them that made it sing that way. Once you get them to your house, you're going to say, oh, no, I'm not doing that. Della used to say people would come flirting with her husband, Franklin, and others would say, aren't you jealous? She said, no. She said, they can give it a shot if they want. They won't keep him 3 days before they send him back to me, because none of them are going to be willing to do what I do to keep him. See, because she taught, like, when you go about, if you say, I'm single and I want to be in a relationship, don't do to get somebody more than you're willing to keep doing after you got them, right? It's not just those actions aren't just a hook, like, because they're not locked in. This is not, what's that Kathy Bates movie? You're not locking them in once you get them there, right? Like, they can still leave. Like, so do what just do all you, or do as much of you as you're willing to do consistently, right? And that, I say all that because that's true here too. It's like, once you get into it, what do you want to do with it? Right? And imagining it in advance. There was a time, a couple of friends and I did an exercise of like, well, I say I want somebody else to, come be my partner and live with me, and I've taken up all the drawers and all the closet space. Let me go ahead and start getting ready for them, right? Let me get ready in advance. So what Catherine Ponder teaches is the different pieces of the consciousness of creating what Joshua was able to create for himself. And the first spiritual law that she looks at is the law of mental acceptance. And she has two quotes that say almost the same thing, but just slightly different. The first one says, you can have anything that you can mentally accept. The second one is, I've heard part of this before, but she puts it in a way that I love the specifics of, which is, have you ever heard God can only do for you what God can do through you? Well, Catherine goes a step further and says, God can only do for you what God can do through your mental attitudes. So you can't get there if you still believe, well, I can't because, fill in the blank. If you're locked in on the can't, you are correct. Congratulations, you win. You say you can't do it, so you can't do it, right? Now, that's not to say that surprises don't show up and that you go through it, right? But, like, you really have to be willing to shift over to the, yes, this is totally possible, and this is who I am now, right? There's the story of a man who won the lottery, and in a short period, he had spent all of it. And it was a lot of money. But he wasn't mentally in a place of accepting that he was a millionaire because he was too used to being poor. So he went and spent it, it's like, oh, let me get this, and then he ran out. Then he won it again. And he spent it all again because he just wasn't in that place of accepting, I can be a millionaire. So he was correct. He could not. He was a person with a lot of stuff, but no money, right? And so it comes, that's for us too, of looking at what do I want? What do I believe I'm worthy of, right? What do I believe I'm capable of? Do I believe when it says I can do all things through Christ, do I believe that that's true for me too? Or do I want to immediately start coming up with the list of things that I can't do, right? I know people like to tell me, who are here who are older than me, oh, you're not old. I won't take the title of old, but I am a member of AARP. And so, you know, I can immediately say, oh, physically, my body won't do blah, blah, and blah that it did when I was 20, right? So that may be a true physical world statement, but that doesn't mean that it can't get done. Like sometimes you'll do it because you figure out a new way to use your body to do what your body would have done an easier way before. And sometimes you get it done by calling the next door neighbor, right? So there's lots of ways to accomplish it. It's just whether you're willing to get to the end goal or whether you want to be stuck on, no, it can't happen this one exact way, so then it's not happening at all. Okay, then move on, right? You know, you're the boss. You get to make that decision for yourself. So let me look here. There was one interesting part before I go to the attraction part is that in the story of the Israelites and the wandering, right? There was the wandering, and during that time, there was a period when they had sent spies over, and there were, I think, 12 spies, because 10 of them came back talking negatively, right? And then there were the Israelites who were like, we should have never left Egypt. It was better for us when we were slaves, but it was better than this, because now I'm hungry, and I used to not be all that, right? We ought to go back. Right? So the 10 spies who talked negatively about the promised land and the Israelites who were just negative chattering this ain't going to work and we should go back. God's order was that they all had to die. Well, that sounds gruesome. It's like, oh, wait, you're not thinking the way God wants you to. He just kills you. Except we do a study of our consciousness. So metaphysically, what's that saying is when you've got that negative chatter going, well, this isn't going to work. I don't even know why you tried this. You ought to know you can't do this. I mean, you didn't go to school for this. And who are you to think you? Those thoughts have to die. In order for you to move to that new promised land of the new experiences that you've never had of that kind of good, you got to kill off completely, not like keeping it in the maybe stage. Those thoughts have got to go away. So that's where, when I use metaphysics, the Old Testament becomes really one of my favorite ones to look at, because what seems negative, when you then flip that into assigning it to elements of your own thinking, you're like, oh yeah, that does not serve me well when I'm sitting around thinking that, instead of thinking about, well, when this comes about, I'm going to do this with it, and I'm going to do this, and I think, you know what color I want to paint that wall? I love this color, right? Getting there instead of, well, that's never going to happen. Like, I don't even know how you think that could happen, right? It's up to us to decide where we are. And there's going to be a time where wallowing, that's the word that keeps coming up recently, where wallowing is simply where we are. And it's never, we've had conversations about me saying, well, then stop it. Here's the truth. In order to not waller, you have to stop wallowing. That's just the truth of it. And you have to waller as long as does everybody know what waller is? Y'all are country people too, right? Like, we're talking about pigs rolling around in mud and some other stuff. No, we're in the South. That's wallering. Fancy people up north call, the same people who say wallow call Appalachian Appalachia. The point is, it's like, yeah, accept yourself where you are when you're there, because once you recognize it and decide what of it works for you and what doesn't work for you is how you can make the decision of what your next step is going to be. Beating yourself up for being somewhere that you don't want to be in your thoughts, even more than in the physical world, is of no good whatsoever. And yet it's the thing we most commonly do. I don't think I've ever been as rude to anybody as I have been to myself. And there are some people in the world who would really question that. But I promise you, I've been more rude to me than I've been, right? And so we somehow think we have this permission. Well, who's going to get me in trouble if I said I'm not going to do this, but I said it to me, so now I want to do it, right? Okay, do it. But then get the consequences that come along with that decision, right? It's not a punishment. It's just part of the package we picked. You know, we had a list of packages, and I picked the Rocky Road package. I'm not being punished because I'm now on the Rocky Road. I'm just walking on the Rocky Road because it's what I picked. And when I decide I don't want to be on it anymore, I get to say, hey, I think I want a new path. And boom, we get to manifest new answers and new possibilities, right? And the road doesn't magically appear out of nowhere. We just suddenly see what we couldn't see until we changed our minds so that we could change our lives. So, the law of attraction. I frankly never heard of the law of attraction until the movie The Secret. I thought they invented that stuff. Except Miss Ponder here wrote about the law of attraction in 1978. And The Secret came out in around 2008, 9, 10, somewhere in there. So, you know, this stuff's been around for a long, and Catherine didn't invent it either. She's just writing about what she had studied from somebody else. It's a very real principle that what we think about, we bring about. We were talking, and I've been on so many Zooms recently, I don't know which one it was, but I have a friend who used to work for the Council on Aging in Rockingham County, and so her job was to manage the CNAs that were going into elderly people's home and helping people, and then she would come visit with them here or there. And this was back in like the mid-90s, and she said to me that she found that the people who talked about what they were scared most of dying from all died from that, because it's what they spent all their time thinking about. That is the law of attraction, and this is a lesson I was being told who was witnessing this happening from somebody who never heard about New Thought or Unity or the law of attraction or any of that stuff, simply seeing it in action. That we can, now, you can say, oh, well, I think about fill in the blank, I don't know, Tom Cruise. I think about, don't think about Tom Cruise. I think about whoever my most perfection is, and they ain't showed up in my house yet. It's like, well, that's because you're thinking of it and still in the, well, but this is just a fantasy. Well, this couldn't be real. And you're probably right. That specific person probably never going to meet. But your version of that for your match is available to you. Right? And I'm back in romance again. This is the same thing about the kind of job you want, the kind of house you want, the kind of building we want the church to be in later, right? All that stuff. And when we get to that, I said I wasn't going to say this much about this yet because I'm waiting. But there's a property that we're looking at that we might get to rent. Might. I don't want to still tell most of you that much about it because we're still in a might phase. But it's for sale, and it would be absolutely perfect for us. Our budget is $300,000. The property is $1.5 million. So it's 5 times more than what we're approved to borrow, right? But there's $1.5 million in this town. We don't even have to leave Greensboro to find $1.5 million, right? It's about changing our mind and being willing to figure out how it comes about. I'm not saying reaching deeper in your pocket, though some of you can, right? It's about figuring out what are the flows. Suddenly when you're like, you know what, I accept that this money is available to us in any and all ways, and then suddenly a grant comes available for something that fits into, we don't even have to change what we're going to do. It's a grant for something we do, right? Or something we want, So these kind of things become available. When you look at that number compared to what the bank has said we can borrow, it's like, well, we can't do that. But do you believe that you can do all things through Christ, which is not some other man, but your consciousness of God working through you? So now the creator of all things that you were one with is attached to that or not, right? There are people with billions of dollars. We're just looking for 1.5 mil, right? So suddenly, if you think about the billionaires of the world, it's like, oh, well, 1.5 is nothing, right? Just don't check my checking account when I say that, right? But it's about saying, all right, am I only going to look at my own bank balance to determine whether there's a possibility in the world? Or am I going to open myself up to infinite flow from all directions of the expected ones and the many more unexpected availability to us, right? I use that as the example because it's the easiest thing that I've got in my mind right now. But it's true for us in every way. In the project you want to do in your house. Well, I just want to paint that room, but I don't feel like it. The I don't feel like it phase can last a really, really long time. But when you decide, okay, you know what, I feel like more than that, seeing it done. Right? And so we get to make those choices. And when we do that, that's when we call upon the law of attraction. Now, I'm running long. So I want to, Chris, the next 2 slides, we're going to read this together. I invite you, if you can see this, read along. This is an affirmation that Catherine Ponder wrote. It says, I withdraw my strong thoughts and feelings from negative appearances in every form. I do not dwell upon problems, my own or those of others. I do not try to explain them even if they temporarily appear. I let them go, and I begin again by reflecting upon the lavish blessings that are my heritage. I invite greater good, even lavish abundance, into every phase of my life now. As I give it my attention, I attract it. In this expectancy, I rejoice and give thanks. The rejoicing and giving thanks is happening before it shows up. That's the key element to remember for yourself. I'm imagining it, I'm picturing it, I'm mentally accepting that it is mine and that I'm worthy of it. Right? And now I give thanks for it in advance. And I also give thanks for you all, and thank you for being here today. I love you, I bless you, I behold the Christ that is you. Thanks. And with that, I will invite Chip up.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. When Wally asked me to do the offertory blessing today, I knew I had to talk about money, of course. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a personal story about my finances over this past week. You know, when I went to work for President Obama, he appointed me to a leadership position in the Small Business Administration. I had the opportunity to create relationships with people in the finance community, with wealthy individuals, with lending institutions, hedge funds, and sorts. So it's given me the ability, for instance, I had a friend who's looking to buy a printing plant in Kentucky. He needs $20 million to buy that printing plant. I was able to introduce him to a very wealthy individual in New Jersey who said, yes, I'll lend you the $20 million. I was going to get a piece of the loan, not a small piece, and that was important to me. Turns out I'm a human being. I had plans for that money that I was going to get. It didn't work. The guy took the loan from the bank instead of from my wealthy individual, so I'm not going to get that money. Disappointing. You know, my wife was working as an executive for 6 years, and it was a great job. She made a lot of money. We had stock options. We had savings. We're living off those right now because she's no longer working in that position. So we had 13 months planned that we could cover our normal expenses. And we're doing well. I went to eat at Green Valley Grill last night. That's a pretty good meal, right? So I'm taking care of myself as I get on this path. But that money was going to take the pressure off my family because we were going to extend even further the money we had to do it. So it failed. But Wally, you reminded me again today, don't give up. Don't give up what your vision is, what you know you can do. My wife has this vision that we're going to create a real estate investment fund where she's going to go into communities that are having problems like Greensboro, where we're actually attracting so many jobs, but we don't have enough housing for all the workers that are going to come to this area. I read recently that we're going to have to create 5,000 new homes for the workers that are going to move into this area. How do you do that? That's her vision, my wife's vision. Create this real estate investment fund, show the profitability of going down this path. So my next effort, even though my loan fell through this past week, is create a large financial real estate investment fund for her. I've got a $20 million commitment to start that, but we need an awful lot more to make it happen. Wally, thank you for reminding me. That's why I come to Unity in Greensboro, because I get my spiritual battery recharged. I reclaim that energy. I reclaim that passion to pursue the things that I know are right for me to do, the vision that we can create that will make the world a better place for workers. Thank you for creating this environment for me to remind me of what it is I'm supposed to do. I hope you draw that same energy. I hope you draw that same gratitude that I have for this church and are willing to give again. Thank you so much.
And as they're going along collecting gifts, you can extend your energy there and sing along with me. All the lyrics of the song is "Thank you, God, for everything." Thank you, God, for everything. 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 And together let us affirm, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. And so it is. Thank you. All right. Yep, Bobby's up.
If you're a first-time visitor or haven't been here in a long time and have received a welcome packet, please fill it out so we can stay connected with you. If you feel you'd like one to fill out, raise your hand and an usher will bring you one. Monday, February 5th at noon on Zoom, we will have an adult education meeting. On Wednesday, February 7th at 6:30, in person, will be Teen Night. Embark on a monthly adventure with us at Teen Night, where every first Wednesday from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., teens are invited to a global exploration of Guatemala through food and fun. That's this month we're doing that. Every month it's a different theme. I'll be up there with Miranda on Wednesday. If you're interested in helping volunteer with the youth, please see Miranda anytime, and she'll talk to you about how that works. Next Sunday is breakfast church service. Yay! Please bring some breakfast food and drinks as well as treats to celebrate Valentine's Days and birthdays. Registration is open for Spring YOU Rally. This event is open to high school students who would like to meet other Unity teens from around the Southeast and come together to explore spirituality. The deadline to register is February 11th. Forms can be found on our website and in the e-blast. If you have teens that like Unity, these are good events. I go chaperone on these events, or sponsor, I'm a sponsor, and I have a blast. These kids are awesome. They're very good. They craft words very well, and they pretty much run these events. So they're really good for the kids. Let our chaplains pray with you after service. Ask chaplains available to raise their hands, please. We got 4, 5 right here. And Nana's in the back. 6. There's a room across the hall and another upstairs where you can practice affirmative prayer in private with one of these trained prayer individuals. And now we'll have special music again by John and Candy.
So this is a song that was written about 100 years ago. And it's a little problematic for me for a while because the title is Smile. And I don't know how many of you, especially women, have been told how much prettier you would look if you would just smile. And but then, as I've sung it more, as I've listened to it more, I understand it the way that Wally's talking about the Joshua perspective, that you are affirming the positive and turning to the positive as opposed to giving too much power to what pulls you down. So with that in mind, here's a song written by Charlie Chaplin.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you Smile through your fear and sorrow. Smile, and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness. Hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Though your heart is aching, smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile, and maybe tomorrow you'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. If you just smile.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We are a blessed community, and I want to thank Catherine for being here. If any of you are newer and don't know, Catherine led this church for a good 10 years or so, so thank you for being here as well. Look, there are Unity churches around this country that don't have one licensed minister, and you've got 2 ordained and 1 licensed in this one room, and another licensed upstairs, and another licensed Unity teacher and a Unity consultant, all in this one room. So this truly is a blessed community, and I want you to know that so you can own it and feel it and appreciate it. So next week, we're going to look at lessons and love, not lessons in love, because sometimes you get the lesson and the love you thought you were going for, the lesson was, oh. Just oh. Amy and Tal will be here as well. So I invite you to stand and let's sing the peace song. Can we close the doors, though, because we're pushing against 11. And if you want to hold hands, do so. If you'd rather not, I invite you to place your hands prayerfully in the air, and let's sing this together. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And together, let's affirm, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, love is, peace is, light is, God is, and all is well. Go have a great week on purpose, everybody.